Hello, welcome to Bureaucracy YouTube channel. My name is Marina Henestrosa. I'm an immigration advisor, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Spain. We know that already you have pictured yourself in Spain, like having tapas on a normal Wednesday, or even taking a siesta after lunch, or working remotely from a nice cafe in front of Sagrada Familia. And all of this is possible. But of course, in order to move to Spain, you need to apply for one residency permit. And yes, we know sometimes when you already decide that you want to move here to Spain and you are starting at the checklist that I was made by someone in the 60s, and you're like, what is this? I don't understand anything, even in my own language. So, no problem. We have been there. So, we fully understand the way you feel. And of course, as well, people on social media, they tell thousands of stories, successful ones, and also horrid ones that they got rejected, that they were asking a document that it was impossible to understand. And remember, everything regarding Spain is going to be in Spanish. So yeah, the language barrier is something real. And of course, Spain wants you. So Spain is a country that is welcoming and wants you to be here. But from the point of view of the paperwork, looks like it's not. So no worries, because here at Bureaucracy Spain, we have done hundreds of applications every month regarding different type of visas, and we know exactly what the authorities they want and the way they want it. And of course, we are Spanish. We know what is the Spanish mindset as well, and we're gonna make all the process super easy. At the moment that they see your application, they're gonna say, "Oh, this is perfect. This is ready to be approved." And that's it. This is when the dream begins. Before we talk about the requirements, we would like to talk about the most common mistakes. I know that many of you you want to prepare this in advance, and some of you contact us even 2 years in advance, 1 year in advance, and you ask me what I have to do, and my answer always is enjoy, enjoy life. Come to Spain, have the feeling about which city you like the best, what kind of neighborhood you would like, how did you picture yourself living in Spain, but I really don't do anything. Because if you request documents in advance, they are going to be outdated. We're going to talk about the validity of those documents because it's very important. The criminal report is valid between 3 and 6 months. Okay? So this is depending on the authority that is reviewing your application and also the country of issuance. For example, from some clients who are from Costa Rica or living in Emirates, the document is valid, the criminal report is valid only for 1 month. So even though that the authorities are accepting documents valid for 6 months, if the document, the official document say 1 month, the document is valid for that amount of time. As well, the marriage certificate. I know this can be confusing. I have received a lot of questions about it. So imagine that you're coming with your spouse and also with your children. So you need to have the marriage certificate and the birth certificate of your children. And the authorities are going to be requesting the most recent certificate, which means even though that you got married in the 90s, for example, or your kids were born in the 2010, 2020, you need to request an updated copy at the government or a state where your marriage happens or your kids were born. And after that, get apostille. So basically is you got married in 1990 in Texas, okay? And now you need to request an updated copy at the state of Texas that say, I got married in the 90s and the document is issued again in 2026. So it's a refresh copy to see that you really are still married. And that document is going to be apostille, which is the legalization of the document itself. And we're going to explain you, of course, how to do this. So it's about to meet a certain timeline to make it work. And again, this is the thing. So gathering the documents is something that is exciting. Also, that you want to do it right away. But the timeline is very important because every single authority has a different timeline. Every country has a different timeline. For example, it's not the same to request the FBI report background check from the US, which is pretty fast to get, but the apostille is in a federal level, which means that takes 11 weeks to get apostille. Okay? So, for example, in other countries, to get the documents apostille is super fast. So we have different factors involved that are gonna affect the timeline basically. My biggest advice will be don't prepare too early, prepare strategically. And how you do that? Basically, contacting us. We offer free consultations where we can tailor and prepare in advance with a timeline about your process. We're gonna tell you, for example, okay, let's get started the process now, but actually in March is when we are gonna start collecting the documents, and this is the right order to collect it. For example, we usually advise to collect the criminal report first, the marriage certificate, and the family documents later, and also the medical certificate to give you an idea. In that order, we're going to make sure that your documents are not outdated and they are well prepared to be accepted at the consulate or any other immigration office from Spain. We would like to talk about now the digital nomad visa, the W2. I know that there have been rumors that the certificate of coverage was accepted, but later no. And well, this is Spain, can be confusing, but I'm gonna say as of today, so right now it's January 26, the certificate of coverage for American citizens who are W2 employees is accepted. Many of you are asking us which actually documents we need to request to my employer. Can I do this myself? Haven't even paid my own social security because I don't want to get involved my company. And the answer is no. You need to have the approval from your company. The company needs actually to request the certificate of coverage at the social security office. We're going to provide you a guideline about which order must be, how to complete the forms, and where to send them. And after that must be apostilled in a federal level. Again, this means that it's going to take months to get sorted, so we need to plan in advance to make sure that everything is well prepared, how we frame it as well, because the law doesn't change, but the interpretation of that law, it does. So the Spanish authorities are all the time requesting extra different wording, different presentation of the documents. For us, it's something normal and we are get used to. And I'm gonna say that the requested certificate of coverage for those who are W2 employees in the US is the most important document. I'm gonna say that it's even more important than the background check. So if you don't have this done in place, you cannot move forward to the next document. Please, if you have any questions, you are hesitant, just contact us and we're going to make sure that everything is understandable and we're going to be happy to help you. And from the point of view of imagine that you're a digital nomad, but you are a 1099 or you're a contractor, for example, living in the Philippines and working with an American client, one of the most common mistakes that we see is that you have a lot of clients, like you have 10 clients in the US or 5 clients in the US and 5 clients in Australia. So the money that you make for each client combined is enough for the application, but we need to gather a lot of documents. And I'm going to say, if you have 10 clients, you need to gather 10 times the same amount of documents, which means 10 contracts, 10 authorization letters, 10 times the bank statements to check how much is the income made for the last 3 months. And also we need to create a financial letter explaining everything because it's different currencies, different amounts, different clients, 10 times the good standing certificate. So it's extra work. So if it's necessary, we have done it. But if we can avoid it, let's do it and let's go to choose just a couple of clients, 3 clients, I will say that is the recommended, and we gather these documents and just we submit. So I'm gonna say that from the point of view of the immigration part, applying with 2-3 clients as a contractor is the best. Of course, if you have only one client, also perfect, even better. And regarding non-lucrative visa, the most common mistakes that we see here is some of you have been working and you have different sources of income, you have your money in different bank accounts, etc. My advice is we are gonna centralize your income. For one applicant, you need 29,000 euros. For a couple, you need 36,000 euros. So let's not overshare information with the authorities. It's just a couple of bank accounts show enough money. This is enough. I will say that also to avoid those bank accounts that you still receive your payroll, because at the moment that they see that name, they are gonna start asking questions. Remember, the non-lucrative visa since May 25 doesn't allow you to work remotely even at the moment of the submission, which means that we need to have a proof of not working. And I know that as some of you, like you are getting a severance or you are getting paid, but even that you are not working. So let's make it easy. Let's avoid any type of questions to the authorities because I always say they receive hundreds of applications every day. They want something that is easy, straightforward, and ready to be approved. And here we are the experts. Well, let's summarize what is the most important in order to avoid a delay or even a rejection in your applications. So I'm gonna say to get documents apostilled properly. So don't underestimate your own bureaucracy. What I mean is your own country. For some of you, the process of legalization of the documents takes time. And some of them they are federal, some of them they are state. I'm talking about, for example, Canada, for example, the US. So please make sure to know which documents must be apostilled and in which level. For example, FBI report is a federal document, must be apostilled in a federal level. The marriage certificate is a state one, so must be apostilled in the state that you got married in the first place. If you got married overseas, must be in that country. So this is how it works. On the other hand, we have also clients that are from Algeria, and Algeria doesn't have the apostille or Emirates. So you need to get the documents legalized, first of all, at the Spanish consulate in that country, and later at the MOFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So it's double check. That's why it's important to follow all the steps to have everything written down in your checklist and make sure that you're following the right path. Because otherwise you can just lose a couple of months in between. Is not the purpose of this. The second important mistake to avoid is the translation of the document. In Spain, we talk Spanish. So any document that is not issued in Spanish must be translated in an official way, which means that it must be done by an official translator approved by the Spanish government. We take care of this if you decide to use our services. So you cannot just say, I'm going to use Google Translator, or I'm going to try to translate this myself, or any translator that I know is going to do it. No, needs to have the stamp by official translator, and they are going to check in the database of Spain. So this is very important. And I know sometimes if you check yourself, it's going to be pricey, of course, because they are limited translators, and depending on the language, the fees are going to vary. It's not the same to translate from English into Spanish than Turkish into Spanish. But yes, we know all those translators and we can translate any language. And the third one mistake that we have been seeing commonly is about the private health insurance. I know that for those who are applying for the non-lucrative visa and sometimes the digital nomad, you need to have private health insurance paid up front with full coverage and no co-payments. You need to pay this before even know that the visa was granted. So don't pay last minute because the insurance company needs to verify that the payment arrived, issue the policy, you need to receive it. So it's gonna take 5 business days to get sorted. So don't wait last minute or don't try to be like to save some €100 on this because actually the authorities are put a lot of attention to this and they are gonna make sure that if something is not correct, they are gonna make you a requirement and we're gonna be delaying the approval date. Well, what can I say? How you avoid those mistakes? Hiring us. Here at Bureaucracy, we are not giving you the checklist. We are the checklist. We are a company that, with the technology that we have developed ourselves, you can see in real time in which part of the process you are, which documents are approved, which documents are submitted, which documents are rejected, and why. And of course, the human touch. You're going to have a dedicated case manager working with you, making sure that the document is apostilled in the right office. The documents are translated because we take care of this 100%. Also, the private health insurance, we connect you with our partners. So we're going to make sure that you're going to go to the consulate or we're going to submit application at the Unidad de Grandes Empresas and it's going to be perfect and ready. Actually, we get compliments from the consulate authorities because they love the way that we organize our documents. So basically, we're going to help you to tailor your application according to process. Well, we are going to make sure that you choose the right visa that is the best for you. which documents you need, the timeline, how to submit those documents, and making sure that nothing is missing in order to get approved, and of course enjoy this sunny country, the culture, having a glass of wine at the end of the day after your walk by the sea, and say all this was worth it because I'm living the Spanish dream, and this is why we are here. If you were here during all my videos, please just go to bureaucracy.es, complete the form. If you're hesitant and you don't know, I don't know if I to do the digital nomad, non-lucrative, no worries. Just complete one form, give your notes that say that you're hesitant, and you're gonna be able to do the eligibility visa test. And after that, book a free consultation with our team and actually go deeper to see your visa, timeline, everything. I promise you, during these 20 minutes, you're gonna feel relief and ready to get started because Spain is waiting for you. See you soon.